If you're doing positive reinforcement training with your dog, you'll need to find treats that work well for your training so that you can train reliable behavior and even fun tricks. So today I'm going to show you what makes a good food reinforcer or reward, and then what me and my dog's absolute favorite reinforcers are, both store-bought and home-prepared, including healthy treats. I'm also going to show you how to make a doggy trail mix that your dogs will find irresistible, even when it's partially just their normal kibble. Hi, I'm Laura from Doggy U, and I'm a certified guide dog mobility instructor, trick trainer, and service dog trainer. And if you're looking to elevate your training game for you and your dog, you're in the right place. So what makes a good food reward? Now in my videos, you'll hear me call it treats or cookies or snacks or food reinforcers or even kibble. It all means the same thing. I'm using food as a primary reinforcer, meaning your dog comes out of the womb wanting to eat, and we're going to harness that power of that primary reinforcer to help our dogs want to do the behaviors we want them to do. And to do that, we need to use reinforcers that make sense and that our dog actually wants to work for. What I'm looking for in a treat. First, the dog decides what's reinforcing. Just because you want them to like something doesn't mean they actually do. You may want me to like a meat lover's pizza, but I'd prefer to top mine with pineapple. I know, don't at me about it. The learner decides what's reinforcing, and you may need to try different things out at home. Here's a great example in real life. I have two dogs. This is Jake. Jake loves all the foods. Now here's Cool Whip. She does not think fruits and veggies are reinforcing. So I need to use food reinforcers that are high value for her, and a blueberry just isn't cutting it. Now that doesn't mean she doesn't get these healthy additions to her diet. It just means that I have to do a little work to disguise them in a bowl by blending them and adding something she does like into it. But that's still not a treat I use for training. Treats for her are generally more meat-based. Can you work on making certain foods more reinforcing for your dog? Sure, but ultimately she's always going to love chicken over kibble when given a choice. Size and consistency. My reinforcers should be soft and easily swallowed, about the size of a pea. We don't want the dog to have to chew it all if possible, as it can slow down the training. Your food reinforcers will also likely be more valuable if they're stinky. The smellier, the better. Variety. Make that trail mix. For treats, I want to have a wide variety of reinforcers. A trail mix for me means that I'm mixing 4 to 6 types of food reinforcers together so that the dog never knows what they might get. It also means the less valuable stuff will start smelling like the more valuable stuff, so it allows me to make kibble that would be otherwise boring much more valuable. Sometimes I'll even take the liver dust left at the bottom of the bag and toss it into everything so that everything gets that just like lovely liver aroma that's absolutely disgusting, but the dogs love it. While you're planning your training, make sure you're accounting for the amount of treats you're going to feed in their daily food allowance for that day, and perhaps lighten their mealtime ration, or better yet, incorporate their meals into your trail mix and then train your dog for just a few minutes before breakfast and dinner. Even 1 to 2 minutes of training before meals will create the consistency you need to get better behavior in just a few weeks' time. I use both fresh and store-bought treats. A lot of what I use depends on what the individual dog likes. I always have store-bought treats available in my closet, but like to prepare some fresher stuff whenever possible. In just a minute, I'll show you my go-to store-bought treats. And a quick note on introducing these new food reinforcers to your dog. Add one type of treat into their training regimen at a time and make sure it doesn't cause an upset stomach, and then add on from there. If you want to check out a really interesting book on feeding your dog that talks a bit about adding fresh food to their diet, you can check out The Forever Dog, which I've posted an Amazon link for down in the description. Now, I certainly haven't used every treat that's available out there, so if you have a favorite treat and you want to add it to the list, be sure to throw it down in the comments below. I'm always thrilled to discover new treats for my dogs to try. So we'll start now with fresh options, which tend to be the highest value. But before we do that, if you found this video helpful so far, please take a second to reinforce me by booping that like button down below. Cool Whip, Jake, and I would be so grateful. First is chicken. I like to use the rotisserie style chickens, or you can just cook the meat or boil it beforehand, or you can get the frozen stuff in the bag and just pop it out and microwave it before you start. Some other ones I love are turkey, steak, hamburger. You can even use a small amount of cheese or hot dog. Warm meatballs from the store can also be a highly valuable reinforcer, and that might be the one that I set aside as my high value one. Some dogs also like fruits and veggies. If they do, things like carrots, chopped broccoli stems, firmer bananas, cauliflower stems, green beans, apples, blueberries, and melon can be great healthy options to add as a portion of your trail mix that don't add many calories to their diet. Sometimes I'll also use whatever meat my husband has cooked the night before. If it's not seasoned, it's fair game for treats the next day. Along with these fresh options, I also always have store-bought treats on hand. Please note that this video is not sponsored. Everything in this video I bought myself. You can find a list of my favorite treats down in the description below. Now there's two types of store-bought treats. Ones that you have to do a little bit of work for, and ones that come pre-sliced and in training size bites. We'll start with the ones you have to cut up. I love Happy Howies. They are pricey and you have to cut them up yourself and refrigerate them, but my dogs absolutely love them, and you can cut them up into little tiny pieces without them crumbling, so even though they might be more expensive, I get a lot of bang for my buck. Another one I've used for years is the Red Barn Food Log. Again, you have to cut them up and refrigerate them after opening, but you can cut up the whole 4 pounds, put them in your freezer, and take them out as you need them. They are a bit more crumbly than the Happy Howies, so you can't slice them as small. Turkey or chicken liver and hearts, as well as lamb lung, are a great training option. They're higher value than most store-bought treats, so most dogs love them, but they are a little bit harder, so you do have to cut them up with a knife so that you can make them small enough to be easily swallowed. Okay, so let's talk about store-bought, no work included options. First is Zuke's Minis. They come in a little pre-package, and my dogs love the salmon and rabbit flavor, probably because they're usually the most expensive, so of course those are their favorites. We stock up when they go on sale because they're tiny, which makes them a great training option. Biljack is also great, and the Biljack Littles are shelf stable. Get the minis even for dogs that are big, as you want to use the smallest ones available. You can also find a lot of these options like pet botanicals at places like Marshall's and Home Goods, and can sometimes get a good deal. I also like Wellness Soft Puppy Bites because I can rip them up into tiny pieces easily. The final category is freeze-dried or air-dried raw kibble products. There's a freeze-dried kibble I really dig that I've been using as treats that's called Robble. It's awesome because I can keep the bag in the car for training, and it's very stinky. It's softer, but not soft in the way that some of the prepackaged treats are, but it's still good for dogs that can basically swallow anything whole. And it's similar to liver treats in texture and feel, but a little softer. It does create a lot of dust at the bottom of the bag, but I just sprinkle that over my trail mix and shake. Along those same lines is Ziwi Peak's air-dried dog food and Instinct's freeze-dried raw. Though none of these options are cheap, the added benefit of using a freeze-dried raw kibble as a treat is it's intended to be fed as a meal, so you can just subtract it from your dog's daily food ration, and they love it. Other treating options. If you have sensory concerns, dexterity limitations, or dog slobber makes your skin crawl, other types of rewards might be a great option for you. I actually have a whole video on how to deliver reinforcers appropriately without getting chewed up on by young dogs. Things that I've learned over the past 14 years of dealing with land shark German Shepherd puppies, so I'll link that down below. But I wanted to do a quick mention here of using squeeze tubes filled with something that your dog loves, like baby food, yogurt, pumpkin, peanut butter, or a mix of those things. Squeeze tubes can be great, especially for recall or healing work, and can save your hands. They're also particularly awesome in the winter when working outside, so you can keep your hands gloved and still provide high-value reinforcers. Alternatively, peanut butter on a spatula or wooden spoon works great for small dogs, or for tricks where you need to reward your dog away from your body, like a footstool. So there you have it, my favorite treats that my dogs absolutely love. And if you want to learn more about positive reinforcement training, I've put a playlist here that's going to go over things like teaching your dog to come when called, sit, stay, down. I mean, who couldn't use more help getting some really nice obedience behavior? So you should probably click on that now. You all have an awesome day and happy training.